What if I told you there was a movie that combined space pirates, giant space herpes, castration robots, sword fights, exploding spaceships, time travel, and a quest for water years before water scarcity became a common sci fi theme? And what if I told you this movie starred TV heartthrob Robert Urich, featured a young Ron Perlman, and somehow managed to become one of the most gloriously insane cult films of the 1980s? Well, tonight we're talking about a movie that feels like someone watched Star Wars, drank 3 gallons of Mountain Dew, and said, let's make this as weird as possible. This is Ice Pirates. Welcome back, everybody, to Retro Life for You. I'm Chris Adams, and today we're setting a course for one of the strangest cult sci-fi adventures of the 80s, the Ice Pirates. With me, as always, is Marty Phillips. And before we jump into hyperspace, let's make sure you're following Retro Life for You on all of our social media platforms. We are on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We've got a few things out there on the TikTok. And if you're looking for some awesome retro movie inspired apparel, some t-shirts, be sure to check out our t-shirt shop through the link in our Instagram bio. We've got a quite a few designs right now with more coming of designs inspired by the movies of the 1980s that we all grew up loving. So be sure to check that out and grab one for yourself. Now grab your laser sword, steal some ice cubes, and let's talk about the Ice Pirates. Marty, we were just talking earlier. This is the first time both of us have seen this in quite a while. This is my first time since I was a kid, technically seeing this.
I want to say it's definitely been at least 20 years since I've seen besides watching it about 30 minutes ago.
He literally just finished this 30 minutes ago. He was late coming on tonight. He said, I got just a few more minutes. Hold on. It's everything I remembered it to be. Basically, it's supposed to be, Marty, a bit of a comedy as well as a sci-fi adventure. But the comedy is really of the time, and it doesn't really translate well comedically today, I don't think. But I mean, a couple of things was kind of humorous, because the one thing that stood out in my mind over all these years, if I seen a still picture of what looks like a steel jaw going chomp 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 coming in, I knew what movie that was from. Okay. And that was probably the funniest part of the movie as a kid for me, I think, seeing that happen.
Yeah. But actually having it happen to me or you in real life, that wouldn't be too funny. So
No. It's not funny. That would be that would be like I mentioned earlier, where it said something about castration. No, we don't want any talks about that. So we'll just skip on ahead to the movie here, Marcus. A quick little overview and a description of the movie for those who may not have seen it, and for those who might be having trouble remembering exactly what it's about. So, The Ice Pirates was released in March of 1984. It was directed by Stuart Raffle. The film blended science fiction, comedy, adventure, and parody into a bizarre package that's become a cult favorite over the decades. The film starred Robert Urich, Mary Crosby, and Michael D. Roberts. And the story itself, in the distant future, water has become the most valuable resource in the galaxy. Entire planets have been stripped dry by an oppressive group known as the Templars, who control the galaxy's water supply. Enter Jason and his crew of space pirates who raid cargo ships and steal ice wherever they can find it. After rescuing Princess Karina from a Templar vessel, the crew embarks on a quest to find the legendary Seventh World, a mythical planet said to contain endless water supplies. And what follows is one of the weirdest adventures in 80s science fiction, featuring robot servants, mutant creatures, bizarre space battles, and one of the most unforgettable time warp sequences ever put on film.
Exactly.
Hey, Marty, do you remember? It's talking about bizarre space battles. Do you remember the scene? It looked just like you got Robert Urich there, and Michael D. Roberts at the helm there, and it looks like Roberts is doing the one who's like shooting at things out there, but does not look like they're playing Space
They
Invaders?
are playing a video game. He's
Yeah,
sitting there and he looks like he's got the joystick, and then Robert Urich is leaned over his shoulder. He's all like, "Oh, hit that! Oh, move that!" And he's like, Jason, get back!"
yeah, get that one now, get that one, watch that one. It's like typical friends looking over your shoulder when you're trying to play a game, trying to tell
Exactly.
you how
Yes.
to do it.
Playing a video game. Yeah.
It's crazy. This is practically Waterworld before Waterworld was thought of.
Um,
Uh, and I
but
wonder.
I kid you not. In my opinion, this beats out Waterworld hands down. I was never a fan of that movie.
All right, Waterworld grew on me after a while. At the first time I watched it, it was a no go. But after rewatching it again later on, I was able to actually sit through it and have an appreciation for it.
You're the only one.
Is it a movie that I'm going to go find tomorrow and watch? No, but I will say that, like a lot of Kevin Costner movies, it was good for a watch, and that was it. I'm done. It's like Dances with Wolves. I liked Dances with Wolves once, but I don't want to go
Why?
back and watch it again and again.
Yeah.
So, a few pre-production notes here on the film. As I mentioned, director Stuart Raffle. He directed and co-wrote the film. Before this movie, he had directed films such as High Risk, and then later on, he did Mac and Me and Tammy and the T-Rex. The original screenplay for this movie was called The Water Planet, which also takes me to thinking that Waterworld
Waterworld. Yeah.
it used this as some kind of an inspiration. And it was written by Stanford Sherman, who also wrote Krull.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was a bit of tidbit of information I did not know. I found pretty cool. MGM initially planned a much larger production, but budget limitations forced a major rewrite. Raffle transformed the concept into a comedic adventure rather than a straight science fiction epic. And I mentioned budget limitations. That's because MGM was experiencing financial difficulties. The studio executives demanded significant cost reductions, forcing the filmmakers to become creative with effects, sets, and costumes. And the final budget landed around 9 million. Now, not that a movie can't be made on 9 million. We know it can. We just talked about Night of the Comet last week
Yeah.
and what it was. But MGM got themselves in a bunch of trouble. They faced severe corporate debt at about 80 point, and they had an 80.9% drop in fiscal fourth quarter earnings that year. That's oh gosh, that's like bankruptcy basically almost. Despite successful films they had like Yentl, that did a lot of money for them. The studio had heavily burdened itself by borrowing over 380 million to purchase United Artists in 1981, and it restricted its production budgets. So, to give you an idea of how bad it was for them, they had a net that their 12-month net income had slipped to $34.7 million, down from 41.9 million the prior year on revenues of $707 million. So they were paying back money all these things, and and I know 34.7 and 41.9 million is a lot of money, especially in the 80s for sure.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about you've got yourself in major debt on all these other purchases and things that you thought was a good idea and turned out not to be, then that forces some asset sell-offs in which they had to do, and um, that included them selling the MGM library to Ted Turner eventually.
Yeah.
So they no, don't get in debt. You don't need to. It's a no.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be doing that.
But
Don't be
I
doing
mean,
that.
there's companies, just now today that are just, almost in the same boat that MGM was in back then. So I'm not gonna name names, but so
Oh, you're right.
but,
And you know
but
what? That's why we lost Canon films back in the day. They got in over their head. They didn't do a lot of big budget fancy things, but I mean they didn't put enough into
that,
movies to make
that's
the
the
big
thing.
huge
That's the
blockbuster.
thing about Canon was, it was they didn't put out bad movies. They
No,
just put out nonchalant movies. Uh,
when it was like Canon and Golden Globus, that's when they were putting out like all the ninja movies and I believe the Invasion USA, maybe Breaking, and then it split off from Golden Globus. I think they went out of it, and it's just Canon at that point. Which they put out some, like you said, some good movies, but
yeah,
that
I
especially
mean,
guys liked action movies back in the day. But
exactly.
it eventually caught up with them, and it catches everybody in the end. So, but like I said, the final budget landed around 9 million, and rather than copying the sleek look of Star Wars, Raffle wanted ships and technology that looked cobbled together from spare parts. The production team used molds made from automotive engine parts and the machinery to create a junkyard style futuristic aesthetic. So they're
Yeah,
pirates, right?
I mean,
They're
I
they're
mean,
they're
and
not
it
going to
did.
have a top quality ship.
And it did have that feel of like Mad Max at one point, and part of the
Mad Max in
movie.
space.
Yeah, Mad Max in space. Yeah. So, but yeah, like, and I mean, even like one scene of the movie, where the bounty hunters are chasing after Jason and the princess. It had the big skull on the front of the vehicle, and that felt Mad Max. So,
Yep. Like I said, Mad Max in space, man. It's a better concept than Jason in space, right? Although there was a Jason in space, it just wasn't Jason Voorhees.
exactly.
It was a different Jason. Um, the box office, as I mentioned, let's see, approximately 9 million in budget, but it grossed 14.3 million worldwide. So it was a modest theatrical success, made its money back and a little bit more.
Mhm.
While it wasn't a blockbuster in theaters like everything else, it found its VHS success. People rented the movie off the shelves all throughout the 80s. It found its real audience on VHS and cable television.
And technically, I don't know if I recorded it off of one of the movie channels, but I definitely had this movie in my library. That way, if I
Mhm.
wanted to go back and watch it, I could.
Well,
So,
back in the day, we all used to buy the VHS tapes and put two or three movies on one tape.
mhm.
Uh, we had this Ice Pirates movie when I was growing up, recorded on there. I just never watched it. I mean, it was there. I could see it if I wanted to. I didn't. But it's widely remembered as one of the cult sci-fi staples of the VHS era for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, um, one the cast spotlight here, and that had a decent little cast for then. Robert Urich played Jason. He was one of the television's biggest stars during the 70s and 80s. And if you're our age and you're hearing the name Robert Urich, you're probably thinking, I know that name, I know that name, I know that name. Well, if you're thinking 70s, you're thinking Vegas. And if you're thinking 80s, you're thinking Spencer for Hire. So the original Spencer for Hire. Also in the movie Turk 182. Want to throw a
Yeah,
movie out there for him. So.
yep. C. Thomas Howell, Robert Urich played the brother.
Mhm.
So,
And Spencer for Hire was a very popular TV show in the 80s. He was a private detective, I believe, wasn't he?
he was.
And who played the role of Hawk? What was it? Hawk, his name, his
Yeah,
partner.
the black gentleman. We actually talked about him earlier in the podcast about a month or two ago when we did the big hit. Uh, he was uh, he was the bad guy in the big hit, and he was also
Yeah, that was him. Yes, yes, the one that played the guy in charge of
yeah,
all
the guy in
the
charge
hits
of
being put out.
yeah.
Yes, you're right. That's a good memory on that. I forgot about that one. We did
Mhm.
just talk memories. I can't remember his name, but we did talk
Yeah.
about it though.
And he was
Um,
also Benjamin Sisko in Deep Space Nine. So,
yes, right. Mary Crosby played Princess Karina,
mm,
and I do believe Marty, if I'm not mistaken, she's the daughter of Bing Crosby. Is she not?
yes, I think she is Bing Crosby's daughter.
I think I read that earlier in the day when I was reading about ice pirates. Actually, I watched a video on the "Where Are They Now" thing. Not as much, so it was telling if any of them were still alive, how old they are, and when they if they had passed away, what they passed away from. She was one of them on there, and they had mentioned her father being Bing Crosby, and things that she had been known for. Now, for me, the thing she was most notable for out of everything they listed, for all you Dallas fans out there back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say Dallas, I'm not talking about them Cowboys either. Okay, we're not
We're
talking. We're not
talking
talking.
about that nightly soap opera.
We ain't talking about foosball. Mama says foosball is for the devil. Um, but we're talking about the nighttime soap opera. Yes, Dallas with the Ewings, and she is best known for playing Kristen Shepard on Dallas, who became popular in. I would say, I mean, just instilled in cult. I mean, not cult, but pop history. Marty as being the person that did what? Do you remember what she did?
Didn't she shoot Jr.?
She shot Jr.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was a song that was a big thing back in the 80s. Not only was Dallas a big thing, the storyline of who shot J.R. Ewing, because it went on a cliffhanger of someone shooting him,
Mhm.
and there were several people it could have been. You didn't know who it was. And the next season, they dedicated a lot of the episodes to rattling through who it could be and who it wouldn't be. They cleared some people, and then you finally
Yes.
find out who it was, right? But that even inspired a song. It's a country music song called "Who Shot J.R."
Mhm.
And if
They
you
should
don't
have.
remember it,
They should
look it
have
up on
done.
YouTube.
They should have done a song for who shot Montgomery Burns.
They probably could have if they wanted to. That was crazy. Michael D. Roberts played the role of Roscoe, and he was. If you are a fan, once again, of '70s TV series, he was in Beretta. He was I want to say, the street hustler that they would come to, just like they did on Starsky and Hutch when they went to Huggy Bear for stuff. This was the guy
Yep.
the guy did it for on Beretta. He was in National Lampoon's Vacation, and I do believe he was in Rain Man. I know there's other things he's been on, just like the other people, but kind of keeping it short on that this week.
But,
But he's done quite a few things in the past. He's got one of them faces, once again, like I've said before many times. It's a face that you're like, I know that guy. I've seen him in this, I've seen him in that. He's done it a lot. He's been around. So I can't remember what he did in National Lampoon's Vacation, though. Do you remember,
me
Marty?
neither. I'm trying to. I'm trying to remember what. No, I was about to say he was the security guard with John Candy at the theme park, but I don't. I'm not sure if that was him or not.
Well, I'm not positive. It does mention him being in there though, so we'll have to go back and look it up later and see what he did. If any of you know what he did, let us know in the comments down below what his role was in the movie. I am just not positive on that at all.
Mm.
Next, we have Ron Perlman. A young Ron Perlman played the role
Yeah.
of Zeno, and it's one of the earliest film appearances for Ron Perlman. He was later known for doing things like The Name of the Rose, Hellboy, Sons of Anarchy. He was in Blade 2, I believe it was. And let's
Yep.
not
Right.
forget the TV series. Do you remember
Oh,
the TV series?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yep. Well, he was
CBS.
young. He was young in Beauty and the Beast too. I mean, it was like I want to say he wasn't too much older from Ice Pirates to Beauty and the Beast because that was in the '80s too.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure it was very close together. And you could see him in this movie. You could tell he looked very young,
mhm.
just like he was back in the TV series. So, and I never was much of a fan of the Hellboy movies. I know you probably watched it.
I loved Ron Perlman's Hellboy version 1 and 2. So
And Sons of Anarchy, I have been scolded by so many people, and you all are going to give me grief from this probably, but I have not watched the first episode of Sons of Anarchy. Every,
bad
I
Chris.
know everybody's like, well, where have you been the last 30 years, man? Why don't you watch a good show? like I have seen plenty of good shows. Thank you very much, but Sons of Anarchy, you know, what I mean, it's not
It's
exactly a show that's my cup of tea. It's like a here's my take on it. Okay, just looking at the commercials for shows or clips from a show, it's a series about a biker gang that's probably into doing dirty stuff like drugs and moving drugs and stuff like that, and whatever the case may be.
more moving guns and drugs. So
Guns, okay. So, but they're doing criminal activities. A TV
exactly,
show about a biker gang doing criminal activities. All right. So, that being said, I've never had been a big fan of the gangster films either. There's very few that I've watched and liked. Goodfellas being one that I liked, and I've seen a lot of Casino and liked what I saw from it, but I haven't seen all of it. Other than that, the rest of them, I'm not a huge Godfather fan. You know, I mean, I'm not a big fan of like Scarface and Reservoir Dogs and
oh,
uh,
dude, man,
all these other
you're
things.
talking about movie right there. That's yeah.
I'm just, it's just not my cup of tea. It never has been. And people are like, "Well, you got to watch this." I'm like, "Well, it's like Breaking Bad. I've never seen Breaking Bad."
Oh man, Breaking
Now,
Bad is awesome.
now
So,
I might go back and watch Breaking Bad because AMC has put out a lot of good series that I've liked. So I may give that a chance and go back on it. But that being said, going to you know what? I'll just throw one more out there real quick. This is not from AMC. What was the TV series? It was Chuck. It was called
oh
Chuck.
man, I love Chuck.
Someone would told me that I was like, I've never seen Chuck. They said, how can you not have seen Chuck? It's based off the things you like the most, like 80s references and stuff. I said,
Exactly.
"Really?" He said, "Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta watch
yeah.
this." So I went and watched it, and I did like the show Chuck. I will admit that. So maybe I'll go back and watch Breaking Bad, and I'll like it. Maybe I'll give Sons of Anarchy a chance because as I grow older, I find that I am spreading out on what I like to watch and stuff a little bit more. So maybe I like it. And for you, Marty, Sons of Anarchy, did you like Sons of Anarchy?
Yes, I love Sons
So
of Anarchy.
so
Only thing, only thing I didn't like was how they ended the show. I thought the ending of the show was dumb, but hey, somebody had to get killed off. So
Well, I'd be willing to bet Marty does not know what I'm about to tell him, but an hour or less away from here in the town of Gallatin, Tennessee, there is a Comic Con in November that comes there every single year. And about five people so far, I think, from Sons of Anarchy are going to be there.
oh, nice.
So might be something you might want to look at, maybe going to or something.
Mm-hmm.
Angelica Houston was in this movie. A very young Angelica Houston appears in a supporting role. Later on, she was known for things like The Addams Family, playing Morticia. She was in Pritzy's Honor. She was in The Witches. Um, Angelica Houston. I'm trying to think. There's more for sure that stands out to me. And I can't think of what they're called.
Oh man, she's made so many movies over the
She was
years.
in the movie The 101 Dalmatians. She was in that, right?
Uh-huh.
Played the bad woman in that.
No,
Uh,
that was Glenn
was,
Close.
was that Glenn Close?
Yeah, that was Glenn Close that played Cruella Deville. So,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it wasn't Angelica Houston. Okay, well, that's my bad. I'm not sure. You know what? I said I'm not going over a lot of the other people, but I am curious on Angelica Houston on what it is I'm thinking of that I've seen her in that it's not that I haven't listed. I've got to know. So pulling her.
if it's something for Disney, it was probably Witches.
Well,
Or
I already mentioned Witches and then the Adams Family. Um, I think she was in John the ballerina movie. Oh, Ever After. Ever After.
up there,
I love that movie Ever After with Drew Barrymore in it. She was the stepmother.
the stepmother. Yeah.
Yes. So as far as anything else goes, you guys can go and check her out and look her up and everything. But I had to
Oh,
get that out of my system.
like one of my favorite scenes with her in this movie is where old boys where they're in the bar
Mm-hmm.
and and he's like hitting on the table and he breaks the table and then he just touches the table and it splits apart and he's all like ha 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 ha. And she just looks at him like, yeah, whatever. And then they clash swords like once, twice, and he's just standing there, and she's just like, how do you feel? And she goes and she touches him, and his head just rolls off.
Right. Then she looks at the other guy, then looks at
Yeah.
the other guy and says, "I think you owe the lady and I an apology."
Apology. Yeah.
It's like, "My apologies." And so she gives him a little nick with the sword on both sides of his face and goes, "That didn't sound believable."
And then
Uh,
she's like, and then
"I'm
he's like,
sorry.
I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes, I am sorry. That's my bad." Yeah, that was a fun part to it. Um, John Matuzak is the last player we're going to talk about. Last actor we're going to talk about that was in the movie. Former NFL player, played most of his years with the Oakland Raiders.
I thought that he was a football player. I was
Yeah.
like, why does he look so daggone familiar?
Yep, he was a football player most of the years with the Oakland Raiders, and
Okay.
he was in the World's Strongest Man contest one year and placed ninth, I think it was. He's been in other movies as well. His most notable role he's known for is The Goonies. He was Sloth.
Oh, underneath the makeup. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Hey, you guys.
Nice.
That was it was Sloth. That's I mean, and a lot of people don't know it. He's the one that played the role because you don't see him under all the makeup and everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah, the
if you're a
makeup
true
covers
Goonie,
you up.
if you're a true Goonie fan, you know that already though, because Goonies never say die, and Goonies know their stuff.
That's right. And they always survive.
Marty's not a Goonie.
And, well, I like Goonies.
Mhm.
I do.
Hey, and speaking of Goonies, what about that cool T-shirt for the T-shirt shop we have? That's a reference to the
Uh-huh.
Goonies. We have a shirt that references the Goonies. It's got the big bone piano
Yeah,
organ
big ball
there.
pin. Yeah.
It's granted it's not Andy playing her part on it because you can't use that without stepping on some toes. But there is somebody sitting there playing it, and they make a reference of make a wrong note, we'll all be dead. So
Yeah,
hey, check that out. If you like the Goonies, check out the shirt. You might like that.
well,
So
very true.
now we always like to talk about, or I do anyway. I don't know if Marty likes it as much as I do or not, but actors who almost got roles in the films. We're always like, what if Tom Selleck, had taken that offer and
No,
played Indiana Jones?
no,
What if he had done that instead of staying on Magnum? I mean,
no.
what would we have had? Well, believe it or not, in this one, unlike many major productions of the era, there's very little documented evidence of extensive alternate casting for the Ice Pirates. Basically, everybody you see in it is who they wanted or they offered it to, and there's no
Um,
real evidence documented of any kind saying that anybody else was considered for a role.
and I think everybody in the movie played their part. Great. I had zero problems with any of the actors or actresses in this movie.
Right?
So,
No, they did well. One interesting note is that MGM specifically pushed for Robert Urich, though, to receive the lead role because he was already under contract with the studio for television work. So rather than a competitive casting process, the studio effectively mandated his casting at the very least. So there may have been some people who went for the other roles. I'm sure there was,
oh yeah,
but whether they really wanted anybody else or not, we don't know. There's just no documented evidence talking about it, which is very different. Uh, so a little fun trivia about the movie. The original title was different. I told you earlier the screenplay was originally called The Water Planet before
no.
being reworked into a comedy adventure. Did you
I,
notice? Did you notice that when they finally find that mythical seventh world or new whatever it's called,
yeah, it's Earth.
it's Earth. They're looking at Earth.
Yeah, it's
So
Earth.
her, so Princess Karina's father, I guess, would be there on that planet
Yeah,
waiting
just
for them to
chilling.
get there. He just
Mhm.
sitting on the beach, kicking it back with a little
Just
drink or
about
something.
little,
Oh,
little,
there
little drunk.
he's back there going, all them fools up there ain't got no water. I'm just splashing it around everywhere,
All this water.
all this water. The movie was not intended to be a Star Wars ripoff. Director Stuart Raffle claimed he intentionally avoided watching Star Wars while developing the film. Instead,
Oh,
he drew
and I mean,
inspiration.
it didn't feel like Star Wars neither. So,
It
I
didn't.
mean,
I mean,
I
like
mean,
you said, the junk ship. I mean,
yeah, I
there.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really draw off Star Wars, but while developing the film, he drew inspiration from classic pirate adventures such as the Crimson Pirate,
mm,
um, which I'm sure it's an actual pirate film. I
yeah.
believe says here it's a Burt Lancaster film. So
I wanna say it might even be the pirate maybe that Sloth is watching in his room when he sees the pirate cut into the sash and slide his way down. That might have been that movie that you just referenced, the Crimson Pirate. So,
I don't think it was. I think it was an Errol Flynn movie he was watching.
wow,
I can't remember the name of it,
possibly.
but I'm pretty sure it was an Errol Flynn thing. The legendary time warp scene, one of Marty's favorite things about the
My
movie.
favorite part of the movie.
The film's climax features characters aging rapidly during a space battle because of a time distortion field. Many fans consider this sequence one of the most memorable and bizarre scenes in all of 80s science fiction.
Uh-huh.
So, Marty, you're not alone. Other people seem to like that as well.
Well, it showed like the time period of the special effects for '84,
Hmm.
but it also showed that how like just I mean how everything just kind of sped up and slow down, speed up, slow down, and then how all of a sudden Robert Urich has got like a big old beard that's like all the way down to here, and and then like before they jump in the time warp, him and the princess have intercourse, and basically when they're in the time warp, she's all like, "Here you go, Dad,"
Yeah,
and then the kid, and then the baby pees on him. So,
got to be careful what you're doing when you come upon a time warp. Um,
exactly.
so then there was a missing ending to the movie, according to Stuart Raffle. The original ending was supposed to show Earth with beaches full of people swimming in oceans of water. Studio interference reportedly removed much of this sequence before release. So I guess they just gave you the distant shot of the Earth where you see it's loaded with water, and Roscoe's like, you know what this means? We're
Right.
out of we're out of business.
Yeah.
But he was out of business anyways. He's gonna go straight. He said when he was done with this, he's gonna start building robots.
Robots. Yep. He's gonna start building robots, which the robots are crazy, anyways.
Yes, it's very much. Which is another reason why it's not a Star Wars knockoff. I mean, it's not even close to the kind of robots you would have seen in Star Wars or anything either, really.
Exactly. They're carrying swords and axes, and I mean, it's like, and then one new kung fu. I mean, that little mug is all like, wah,
Lord. This Bruce Valanche appears in the movie. Now, if you're our age and you watched game shows growing up, you know Bruce Valanche was on Hollywood Squares a lot.
wah.
Hollywood Squares was one of my favorites because you had different celebrities. For about 2 or 3 weeks, they had the same ones, I believe. Then they'd swap them out with some others. He said there's always one or two main people that stayed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but he was on that. He was also a writer for Hollywood Squares
Mm.
when he wasn't starring on it and everything too. So he did a few
Well,
other TV series as well as writing for them.
now remind me who was his character in Ice Pirates?
Bruce
What was,
Valanche is the guy that they go to where Princess is like, "Tell me where my father is." And he's like, "Oh, I can't do that," and
oh yeah, he's the one that they take they're turning around his head and everything, right?
mhm,
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's him. That's him.
Okay.
Funny haircut. I mean, really, with that hairstyle, what's up with that hairstyle he had going
Yeah,
on?
yeah, his hair was all curly and just wild and butchy, and yeah,
Mhm. Uh, the movie got cult movie status, which we mentioned earlier. Despite mixed reviews at release, the film has developed a strong cult following over the years and is frequently discussed among fans of quirky 1980s science fiction. I mean, I almost hate the term at this point, cult movie, because
right.
it feels like every movie of the 80s they're saying is a cult movie
It's
of
a
some
cult
sort.
movie, exactly. I
Uh,
mean,
I was not raised in a cult. I mean, I did not join a
me
cult.
neither. So,
So how is everything that they put
a,
out there during the
a
80s
cult classic. I
a
mean,
cult classic?
not
Okay.
everything is a cult classic. So
No, not everything is not.
now, now, I will say the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Is a crap movie. Yes, I agree.
It isn't crap. It is a cult classic.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a crap movie. I was gonna be like, I
No,
agree with you,
no,
Marty. I
no,
agree with you.
no. I will say it is not the greatest movie ever, but that movie is a cult classic. So I can actually say that that is a cult classic because there aren't a lot of people that like that movie, but it has a cult following, and that's what makes it a
I,
cult classic. So
I don't understand the obsession with this film people have. I really don't. I'm gonna get blasted for that one probably, but I don't understand the fascination with it.
it's great, and it's a crazy musical. So, and that I can actually say is a musical because it is.
Marty, couple of questions for you. Now, you and I differ on this one here, I'm sure. Would the movie have worked better as a serious sci-fi adventure instead of a comedy?
No, I'd rather have it as a comedy. I mean, yeah, I mean, it had its little dramatic moments, but I liked it more as a comedy. Now, say if they were to like remake this movie or reimagine this movie, like we covered in our last podcast,
Hmm.
and they wanted to reimagine this movie as more, action drama, then yeah, I mean, I could probably, I'd be like, I'd give it a chance. I'd go see it. I'd go watch it. So,
I'm of the I'm of the group of people that would believe it would have been better as a serious sci-fi adventure because I could picture this once again since seeing Waterworld and appreciating it for what it was, based it's on Earth. I mean, right,
mm,
and all things, and it's like there's no dry land anywhere. Like they're trying to find dry land, right?
right.
No, they're not trying to find water. There's plenty of water going around out there as far as the oceans go and everything.
Mm,
But I I would think for me it would have been a great serious sci-fi adventure of trying to gain control of the water supplies that the people there are owning and making it tough for people to get any,
yeah.
when it comes to the water and stuff.
Mhm.
So I think I would have liked it as that.
But would you have rather been more like Mad Max style in space or like something
I'm okay
more
with Mad Max
forward?
in space. Yeah, I'm okay with that because that would have been serious still.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm definitely fine with that.
Yeah.
It would still would have been different than your typical Star Wars type film.
Right.
Still different, but you know, it's more serious than it is comedy. So,
Mm.
um, for you, what's the weirdest scene in this movie?
Uh, Space herpes.
The space herpy. Thank you for bringing that up since it's under my name there. Thank you. The space herpy. Ah, what is that
What
thing?
is
Was it
that thing? It bit me on the back. Oh, you got space herpes.
the space herpy? They're not. Don't worry, they're not dangerous. That's not what I heard.
That's not what I heard.
Or, other than the fact that it's a comedy, how does it compare to you to other 80s space adventures? like The Last Starfighter, Enemy Mine, Space Hunter, Adventures in Forbidden Zone, and the movie Crawl. How
Well,
is it really different for you?
I mean, probably just for the comedy aspect of the movie. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, it had like its little serious moments,
Mm-hmm.
but when it was serious, when it had the serious moments, it still felt like comedic, overtones. Like when they were talking, or when other scenes were happening. Like. But I'm gonna say it was the comedy aspect of the movie that gave it its like that that kind of tone over those movies, because those movies were more dramatic. I
Yeah,
mean, none of them had like any kind of comic relief. Not that I know of. Not that I remember. I mean, so
I
I
agree.
so
Yeah, I agree. What? So this is a kind of a two-parter, and it's probably one and the same. But what was your favorite moment of the movie? What made you laugh the hardest?
uh, probably like the whole time warp part, like when they're aging and everything, and then the robots are just kind of there. They're trying to take on the other robots that are coming off the other ship, and they're falling apart. Their arms are falling apart, and then as Jason and the oh, what is his name? Was
Roscoe.
it yeah, Roscoe. It was like Jason. It's like Jason and Roscoe. They were still trying to fight, but they're getting older and older. And it was like, Roscoe's big white afro, man, just had me cracking up. It was like, and he had like this. He had like he had the big white afro, and he had like a beard that kind of came down to like right around in this area. Every bit of it was just white.
Hmm.
So and then they're literally like they're about to get taken out by the robots, and then Jason's son comes swinging in, and he takes out the other robot, and he takes out the robots that are about to kill him, and then you see Mary Crosby's character come, Princess. She comes walking up, and she's like, "Jason, Jason, it's our son." And
Yeah.
he's all like, "Mom, Dad."
Right. It was crazy, was it not? It was
It
absolutely
was
crazy.
crazy.
Um, I'm going to go with the conveyor belt they're on. They have all been taken as prisoner, along with a few other people that was already on the ship, and they're learning from John Matuzak's character, who was a guy they met on that ship. There, he wasn't part of the original crew, and he said that part of the thing they're there for. Well, first off, what cracked me up was he's trying to get the soup from Roscoe. I'll give you this gold necklace for half of that soup. He goes, food is much more important here these days. I can't do that. He says, well, how about I give you the same gold necklace for just a fourth of that bowl? He goes, okay, I can do that. And as soon as he gets the fourth of the bowl, he puts the gold necklace in the other bowl, I guess, and gives to him. And you hear the guy in the background, who stole my necklace?
Yeah, exactly.
So he's about to be found. It's a big old bad dude too, And then you see Roscoe looking uneasy, like, "Oh my God, you didn't." But when they're on the conveyor belt, they're all going to be taken care of. And what it is criminals in that time. The way they're punished is that they're castrated and they are turned into like
Munich.
servants.
They're turned into Munichs.
Right, exactly. And then they end up being sold as servants and stuff like that. So um they're going down this thing and this conveyor belt. You got people putting shaving cream on their face. The next guy down the line is going to shave them, and Robert Urick's looking up. There's this dude with his hands shaking like this.
And over here, it's like, don't touch me, don't.
Yeah, he- this is my steady hand, child. This is my good hand. Um, but anyway, so he gets past all that, and then he looks down there, and he's like, "Oh no, oh no, oh my god, oh no!" And you see these little steel
Yeah.
chompers, little
It's like,
chompers. They're about to go ahead and Yeah, it is. It looks like it's about to bite him right in the groin area, right in the balls,
Hmm.
and then then he comes out the other end and he's laughing because
Yeah,
it didn't
he's like,
happen.
oh, oh, thank God, thank God.
He's hysterically laughing because he thought he's about to lose everything, and then the princess is there. Just act like it happened, okay? And then you see
Mhm.
Roscoe coming through with the same thing. He's getting scared and more scared, then he screams bloody murder, then comes at the other end with everything intact, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Do what you're told, or next time
All right,
it
next
will
time it's
happen."
for real.
Yes. So she had done something where she saved them for to use them to help her find her dad and everything.
Mhm.
That was my part for me as far as being probably the
Man,
best scene and
you
funniest thing for me.
you forgot one of the best parts before the jumper part. It was where the Jason and Roscoe, they were getting ready to be pulled out of the container, and you hear what's his name said before that. He goes, they don't Munich the priest, because they're not
Yeah,
sure they're not sure they're not sure if there is a God, and they don't want to be cursed or anything like that. And then you see Robert Urich and you see Jason and Roscoe looking and everything, and then the big dude comes out and he's wearing old boy's robe, and he's all like, "Go with God, my son. Go with God." He robbed it. He robbed it off of the first.
right. I forgot that.
That was so
This
hilarious.
this movie was crazy. All right, well, that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell, everybody. Marty and I discussed this is probably going to be a shorter episode than normal, and sure enough, we're at 44 minutes right now. And we're 46 minutes, and we're wrapping up. So don't forget to, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, follow us on our social medias. Go to Facebook and follow us, and Instagram, and check us out on TikTok. We don't have a lot on TikTok, but there is some, and I do put some up occasionally. It's just not my strong suit. We're on YouTube as well for the video shows like you're watching right now if you're on YouTube looking at us. Uh, www.retrolife, the number four, letter u.com, and you can listen to the audio in your browser and see a lot of our back library there as well. Well, not see it, but listen to it. Uh, all of the back library, unfortunately, Marty, is not on YouTube. There was so much back there I just could not get onto there, but we've got a lot to choose from on there as well, though. And if you want to hear a lot of the earliest stuff and torture yourself with how bad I was back then, with me and Travis, how bad we were talking at first, knock yourself out. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, and anywhere else you can get your audio podcast at. So, in closing, that's basically going to wrap up our voyage through Ice Pirates. Whether you think it's a forgotten masterpiece, a glorious train wreck, or somewhere in between, it's definitely one of the most unique science fiction films of the 80s. If you have seen The Ice Pirates, let us know what you think. What's your favorite scene? Who's your favorite character? And where does it rank among your favorite cult sci fi movies? Don't forget to follow Retro Life for You, as we mentioned, and go to that Instagram bio link and check out that T-shirt shop. I can't stress that enough because there's some things I guess you're just really proud of. I guess for me, it's the designs that come up with that we've come up with to put up there to reference the movies without
Yeah.
actually showing you the movie on the shirt. So it's unique. It's unique to the stuff back then, but still a reference to what we all love. So please make sure to check that out and buy a shirt if you see what you like. Buy two, buy three, heck, buy four. Just
Yeah.
splurge. And subscribe to wherever you're listening to your stuff so you don't miss any episodes. Until next time, Marty, what should they do?
Always stay retro.